family, what's going on? It's Nightcap. And listen, I'm crazy excited about tonight. As you can see, I am sitting on the balcony somewhere, getting some rest. But Nightcap is my passion. And of course, my co-host, she'll be jumping on in just a minute. So everybody that's starting to jump on, share it, encourage people to jump on tonight for young adults, millennials. In fact, it don't matter what age you are. If you're serious about thriving in this season and about doing it either in business or in education or in athletics or even in ministry, this is the perfect night. We have a star-studded panel. Oh my! And in fact, I don't even want to call it a panel. I mean, we just got man, we got voices and faces that you need to know because these faces and voices are going to be impacting the world for a long time. And so we're going to start with the beautiful young lady who's a part of tonight's nightcap. Tell us who you are. I mean, the world already knows you, but just kind of tell us who you are and what you're presently doing with your amazing life.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Kiara, Washington. I am a licensed realtor in the state of Florida, but I service Jacksonville and surrounding areas. So, yes, if you have anyone that is looking to buy or sell a home and wants to get your keys with key, come and I can definitely assist you.
Perfect. Um, I saved Anthony for last. We got a brother who I want him to be incredibly successful, except for maybe Monday night. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I want him. No, in fact, I want him to be amazing Monday night. I just don't want the rest of them to be amazing. All right, he is he's on nightcap for the first time. We're so excited to have this brother. Please share with us who you are, because I got a feeling, man, you're going to inspire a lot of people tonight.
Hello, everyone. My name is DJ Humphries, born and raised in Union, South Carolina. I went to the University of Florida, go Gators. Entering my sixth season, the Arizona Cardinals, drafted in 2015. And I'm starting to dip my hand into my entrepreneurial backgrounds a little bit, uh, trying to flip a few houses and see what else I can dip my hands into.
Man, that's exciting to hear someone who is who is excelling in one field, but understand that he has to be willing to do other things because the future is beyond just sports. So, man, awesome, and I really want to hear more about what inspired you to do that. My brother, this dude right here, this dude, when Operation Save Our Sons jumped off in Jacksonville, he was one of the reasons why it was successful. Then this brother left Bethel, left Jacksonville. Now forget them, left me and went to Nashville and has become one of the country's most recognizable voices among millennials, young adults. He's impacting the world. Listen, Steve Harvey ain't got nothing on me. I can bring you to the front, right? I can introduce you. I can introduce you, right? My brother, my little brother, but more importantly, even a mentor to me in many ways, Anthony O'Neill. Anthony, tell us, man, talk to us.
Man, you're not a big brother, man. You are definitely my one of my spiritual models, fathers in the ministry. You gave me the opportunity to shine. So, I believe that I'm standing on strong shoulders. Yours, Bishop McKissick, and of course, my mentor right now, and leader Dave Ramsey. So, my name is Anthony O'Neill from Jacksonville, Florida, but I live in Nashville, Tennessee now. I'm just a speaker, author, passionate about helping young people build wealth, get out of debt, and just really go after their legacy. So, one of my business partners and closest friends, Ross with you, DJ, Kelvin Beecham, who plays with the Arizona Cardinals as well. And so I'm just grateful to be here to talk with you all tonight. So thank you, Bishop, and thank you, St. Paul, for this opportunity to share tonight.
Man, listen, it was easy. My co-host just jumped on. Listen, she got like 80,000 things going on. Sharice, I've been working on theme music to introduce you, right? I've been working on some things. I've been working. I'm trying to write an opening song for you, right? So when you come
Right.
on, like Donna, here she is. Anyway, don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm glad to see my co-host tonight. Finally bringing up the rear is the old man on tonight. Oh, the old yeah man. Sorry. In this group, you the old man tonight. He's been a CFO of St. Paul for man almost 20 years, but more than that, he is a business owner. He is a man who works in a very competitive field, and as a black man has had great success. In fact, the reason why DJ Humphries is up here tonight is because of Santana Johnson. So Santana, why don't you greet the people? Just kind of tell us who you are and man, what you've been doing for the last few years.
Okay, no problem. Well, my name is Santana Johnson. I'm so excited to be on this call, on this platform. I never thought I would be doing it this long to be considered the senior panelist. So that's kind of ironic to hear that term. But I have been managing professional athletes' finances for now 18 years. And I was the age of most of the panelists when I first started. And I have been blessed to be successful over the last 18 years. And I hope that I have another 10 to 15 more years in me in which my company continues to grow and I continue to make an impact in young men's lives.
Good. So we'll start, and anyone of you can jump in. Um, um, Tonight is about entrepreneurship, but it's about faith. It's about not only building the business, but about how your faith and your commitment to Jesus Christ impacts your understanding of what you're called to build. Anthony, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to DJ, and then we'll go to Kiara. How do you understand at this stage of your life how your faith impacts who you are and what you're called to do?
When I think about my faith, Bishop, I think about where I've come from, what I've been through. You knew me when I was, on the way up. But before I met you, I was at my extreme low. I was homeless, sleeping in the back of my car, and it was God literally striping everything from me. And I realized during that season of my life that that the only way I'm going to get to where I want to go is that I have to submit to God's perfect will, not His permissive will. And when I realized that I have to be within God's perfect will, still a flawed human being who has made some stupid mistakes, even over the last couple of years, I'm still trying to operate within His perfect will, because I've noticed if I operate within His perfect will, that's when God can put His hand on everything that I touch, and His blessings, His vision, His wisdom, His guidance is in the midst of all of that. And so without God, without my faith, I cannot be successful, because then I go back to His permissive will. And I don't want to be in His permissive will because I can lose everything. If He gives it to me and if He is in the midst of it, He's the only person that can take it away from me. So with that, I know that my faith and my relationship with God is very important if I want to even go further in my journey here. You mute, Bishop.
You muted, Bishop.
All right. It's something you said that I want to come back to real quick. You talked about being in God's perfect will and not His permissive will. What does that mean?
Perfect will to me, and you help me break this down, Bishop, because you're the theologian on the call tonight, so you can help it go deeper. But for me, perfect will means that even if I make a mistake, God is in the midst of it. His hands is still there. Permissive will means that I know God is telling me to do something, but I am on purposely not doing it. I'm doing me, and I believe in God, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna live here. I'm gonna act like this. I'm gonna live this lifestyle. I'm gonna do this, but God still loves me. God still has His eyes on me, but He doesn't have His hands on me because I'm not being obedient. Perfect will is, yo, I'm gonna strive. God, I'm gonna try and live this lifestyle. God, I'm gonna do this. God, I'm gonna do that. And I may make mistakes on this journey of it within His perfect will, but God's hand is in the midst of it. So to me, perfect will is God sees me, God is touching me. Permissive will is God sees me, but he may not be touching me because I don't believe God touches mess and lives in mess. Now he will recover us, he will help us heal, he will forgive us, but I want God's blessings. I want God's hands all over my life.
That's big. That's big. DJ, jump in, man. How does your
Wow.
faith? I'm DJ, man, you are an athlete. How does your faith affect you? I mean, man, because you live in a different world than most of us would even understand. How does your faith influence and affect your activities, your mindset, and even your discipline in living in that culture?
I think now it's something that's become second nature for me to fully trust in the fact that God is wrapped up in my life and is the reason why everything has fell into place the way that it was. I feel like when I was younger, growing up in Union, South Carolina, I come from some different circumstances on the back roads in Union, South Carolina, so things were a little bit different for me. And my grandmother was big in the church, but it didn't click for me. Um, as to why we were living the way that we lived and the things that she would tell they weren't the dots weren't connected for me, and it took for me to get older and learn more and really accept my faith for myself to put my head in that book and really understand that you don't get out of Union, South Carolina without faith, your faith being a part of who you are. You don't get to where you are now without your faith being a part of who you are. I remember coming into the league as a rookie and getting the most money that I had ever got in my life at the time and being miserable because I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do on the field. And it took me to really sit down and just praying to God and really getting close to him again because I allowed myself to allow the success to cloud my relationship with God and it became what I was doing everything. Whereas before I had my grandmother in my ear feeding me that and telling me, this is God's will and everything will be okay and it'll become this to where I had to kind of grow up and figure out the way to get back close to him and the way that things fell into place for me. I feel like it's the right relation.
So
Wow.
so for so for you had a wake up moment and you understood that you needed a relationship with God yourself. So with all of the success that you started having on the field, what was it that for you shifted you to understand the importance of your relationship with God?
I had my son my rookie year in the NFL. Before I put on a jersey, my son was on the way, and my world it felt like I was kind of in a swirl almost. And I felt like during those times where I was with myself alone and trying to get closer to God, that was the times where I kind of was able to everything slowed down and I was able to settle down and kind of pull myself together and figure out how the next step in my life and how we we're going to figure things out. And I think that helped me so much because it just, in that sense, that was the only time I would be able to settle down and kind of get some peace about myself. So it made it so much easier for me to really just hone in and just pull it all the way in and understand that this is exactly how it's supposed to be.
Man, that's
Wow.
big. That's big. Kiara, how old are you?
29.
29. I've known you a couple of years now, and we watched your journey. Where are you now? How did you get there, and how has your faith affected? I mean, because you went away to college, right? And then you came home,
I did.
and you kind of had those
I did.
moments, right? So, so how have you gotten
Right.
to be this confident young lady as you walk through this
Absolutely.
journey?
It took a lot. So I would say that my mistakes that I made early 20s kind of fueled me to become this confident person that I am now, which I still kind of work on that. But where I was before, I wasn't focused, I wasn't goal driven, I wasn't the person that you see today. And when I seen, myself at 30, um, I wasn't going the right path. So I kind of shifted things, got back into school and just refocused my life to where I wanted to be. Right now, a lot of people don't know, which I haven't made it public, but I took a leap of faith like literally a month ago. And when I say I took a leap of faith, I told corporate America I gotta go. Like I quit my job to do and be an entrepreneur full time. And right now, faith is all I have. I've been tested in different areas of my life when it came to me getting my degree, and I had the success in that. And I think with me going on this faith journey, something that I've never done before in my life is my relationship with God has to stay intact. Like I can't have, like DJ mentioned, I have a relationship. I have to have a relationship for myself, and not my mom having a relationship for me, or not, going to my friends or my bishop saying, "Hey, pray for me." I have to learn how to have that relationship for myself. So right now, to be honest, faith is all I have. So this topic is just perfect.
Let me tell you what was so amazing about something you did when you made the decision that
Absolutely.
you were going to leap out there, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you made that decision. One of the first things that you did was you reached out to me and said, Bishop, um, um, I want you to pray with me. You didn't say pray for me. You said pray with me as I make this decision. And I called you and we prayed. And it
Yeah.
was interesting. Your maturity was seen not in the fact that you thought my prayer would make you successful, but that you understood that your success was riding on your level of faith.
Absolutely.
And so as we transition to Santana, here let me kind of piggyback on this. What was it that shifted you from working in corporate America to now leaping out there to do your own thing in the middle of a pandemic? Okay, I don't think you heard what I just said. Sharice, this girl this girl
She's a
went
bad
rogue
girl.
uh, in the middle of a pandemic. Some people ain't even left the house in the pandemic. She left a
Exactly.
job.
Yeah.
Some people ain't left the house. She left a
My
job.
Lord.
So what was it that motivated you to do that? And then Santana, you can just kind of jump in on 18 years ago. What was it that motivated you? So Kiara, what was it that motivated you? And then Sharice, I'm turning it over to you because I'm on vacation.
Okay.
So honestly, I graduated with my master's this year, and I've always seen myself as a success. Like I'm not mediocre at all. So I'll go to this job every day, hate me, even though we working from home. I hated it. I will log in late. I'll have conversations with my manager, basically telling me, "Get your stuff together, or you leave, or I'm gonna have to let you go." What motivated me was that I thought that my degree was going to take me to a level of success that I always wanted, and it didn't take me there. However, like I said, a lot of people didn't know, which I didn't make it public, that I was doing a full time job in school full time and making it seem like I was doing real estate full time. So I was juggling all of these hats, and I was stressed out, and it was a lot. I had an opportunity presented to me that it was an opportunity of a lifetime, and I had to make a choice. Either I was going to take this opportunity or continue to work a job I hated. And what motivated me honestly was that I know God has so much more for me than just working that 9 to 5 job, which, don't get me wrong, corporate America is amazing. The benefits are great. It just wasn't for me. And one of my best friends reminded me of a time we were at church on a Tuesday. And I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. And Bishop spoke and was saying that God told him that I was going to be a millionaire. And he said specifically, you have at least a year left on this job. I didn't know what that meant. I've been working ever since I was 16 years old. I love my own money. Granted, my family, supports me in every way. But I was like, I'm not quitting my job. That's my security. That's my bread and butter. I can do this at the same time and manage it. But it wasn't until my friend reminded me of what Bishop spoke, what God spoke to Bishop for me, that I was like, okay, Kiara, it's either you leave this job and take this leap of faith, or God is going to take it away from you. And, I'm going to get fired. So I was like, well, I called Bishop. I said, Bishop, pray with me. I had my family, and I told Bishop, like, this is only a small handful of people know what I'm doing, because, like you said, I'm in the middle of a pandemic. I'm quitting my job, like my job, good paying job at that, to do this full time. And so I took that leap, something I've never done before in my life.
Santana.
Wow.
Well, I'm really feeling old now because in each of the persons that have spoke, a part of what pushed me to be an entrepreneur is from growing up in Jacksonville and having a very tough upbringing. Um, I want faith is what got me through high school. So I, you know, didn't have the money everyone else had. So, I was able to have some nice clothes because I worked hard. But it took me faith to get through 12th grade. And at some point I realized in order to be happy, I was going to have to be an entrepreneur. And so when I got to corporate America, it got to be the check wasn't enough because I wasn't happy or fulfilled. And just one Sunday night, like here, I called my grandmother and say it's over. I'm leaving my job. And I always knew that once I got to like my senior year in college, I knew I wanted to be a financial advisor for athletes. Even though all the athletes were my age, I felt like what I had been through, uh, being around them, knowing how they think, knowing the challenges, knowing that they didn't trust anybody. I made a bold statement to them like, hey, I've always been smart. I think that I can really manage your money. And, they didn't sit on the dream. They were like, hey, why not try it? And so I went and got the education by working at a prominent firm. But once I felt that I had got all I needed from the firm, I just left my job and went for it. And that required me to move back to Jacksonville, downsize greatly. Ironically enough, I cried all the way from Atlanta to Jacksonville because, everyone said you can't make it in Jacksonville. And if you really want to do what you're doing, you should stay in Atlanta. But I knew what the Lord was saying, that if I wanted to do this, that I would have to move back to Jacksonville. And I made the leap of faith, and the rest is history. So still to this day, the faith just drives me. And I think for me, it's a blend of faith and fear. I don't want to ever go back to corporate America, and I don't want to ever fail, and I don't want to displease God by not always trying to be my best. And then there's so many young men that I've touched and impacted that I don't want to be a failure to them either. So every day I wake up with my faith pushing me, but also the fear of failure pushing me also.
Wow. I want to go back to something Anthony said when he talked about permissive will and then God's will. And then I hear Santana saying, hey, I want to do God's will. And then I hear Kiara saying, hey, it's a leap of faith. It's all faith. I want to do God's will. Same thing with DJ. So when it comes, basically what I hear you all saying, and I want you guys to say it for the people that's viewing, because I think we get it confused. Everything that you did required faith, but it also required work, right? And the level of sacrifice. I want you guys to talk about the level of work that it took, because yes, Anthony, you did have to be in God's will, but his will required sacrifice. It required work, not just faith. So let's talk about that, because I think so many millennials believe if you just believe and have faith, it's just going to magically appear. But I hear you all saying that it was something that had to take place to get to where you are? I want to dive deep into that. Anthony, I want you to talk about it, and then anybody can chime in since you brought up permissive will and God's will.
Yeah, I'm an ordained pastor, so I believe in faith. I believe in stepping out on faith, but I also believe some people step out not on faith but on emotions. And I think we have to be very careful with stepping out on emotions or stepping out on faith. What Kiara did is very wise for her. I think she was wise in that move. But then other people don't need to leave their job. They need to work. And while they work, they're working on God's will. And then God will make it clear, like how he did for Kiara, it's time for you to leave. I think one of the key ingredients to success is we are our greatest miracle, I believe. Because if we get out there and work, we get out there and we just strive, God gives us everything that we can. If he told us to do it, he gave us the means to do it. And so I think sometimes we get lazy and we have to step out. Prime example for myself, Bishop knows this. I really wanted to reach a lot more people. And I was in Jacksonville, Florida, and I was praying. I was saying, God, what's my next move? I'm loving Jacksonville. We've built this great ministry for young people here in Jacksonville, but I want to reach more people. And honestly, I want to reach more people that don't look like me. I want to help young people become successful, become millionaires, become debt free. And so God simply said, all right, I'm gonna give you something. And he sends me over here to Nashville, Tennessee, with everyone who doesn't look like me. I was very uncomfortable. And he said, put in the work. He said, now work. And while working, I felt like giving up. But because I was in God's perfect will, he gave me all the wisdom and the knowledge to be successful. And I took that wisdom, I took that knowledge, and I kept striving. I kept striving. I kept coming against road bumps. And I didn't quit. When I felt like quitting, I said, you know what? God, I need you to give me the wisdom to get over this road bump because you brought me here. So clearly there's a reason why I'm here. So let me get out of this over this. So I would definitely say that for us, if you really want to build true success and if you really want to operate in faith, you got to put in the work. And sometimes the work is just asking God for wisdom and knowledge and staying true to his wisdom and his knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody want to chime in on that?
Yes, I do. I want to let's be clear. When I quit my job, one thing I learned about being at St. Paul and being up under Bishop's guidance, we always read Proverbs and the whole book of Proverbs, the beginning of the year. And I just know that whatever decision, because of my history and my past mistakes, whatever decision I make, I try to make a wise choice, especially with whatever I'm doing. So when I made that, well, not me, when God spoke to me and said, okay, leave your job, I had the means to continue on with my lifestyle. And my bills are continued, are still paid. I haven't went without at all. And one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible that people like just read and don't take heed to it, faith without works is dead. So what people don't know, when I quit my job, my work ethic had to get stronger. Like I get up, if you know me, I'm not a morning person. I get up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning. I make sure I do what I have to do for my business because I don't have the comfortability of getting paid every 2 weeks. So I work my butt off like never before because at the end of the day, this is like a leap of faith. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I prayed for prior to me even making this leap. So a lot of people, when they see it on social media, a lot of people see, oh, I left my 9 to 5, da 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 da. But it was a wise choice for me. On top of a leap of faith, on top of I had my prayer warriors praying for me at the same time. So it was faith is all I have, but I can honestly say I've been happier. I haven't missed a beat at all because I listened. I obeyed God and what He said.
Wow.
Sharice, I would like to chime in because
yes.
I actually have a client on the phone, and this is some of the things we talk about. I work 7 days a week, about 16 hours a day. I have clients from the East to the West Coast. And when I first started, not first started, but I am competing against the big boys. I mean, I'm not going to sit here, but all the big boys with the big signs and the big buildings. And I realized the only way I could compete and win was to outwork their customer service. And I had to make some of the top 5, top 20, top 5, top 10 highest paid in their position. I have to work harder than the big boys to make them feel like it's no drop. And if you want to win, if you want to start from ground up, you're going to have to work hard or you don't even need to start. And, it becomes a part of your DNA, and you only bring people around you that have the same work ethics.
Wow. I think that Santana, you're talking, so I want to start with you because you've been doing what, and I know you talked about it earlier before I got on, but briefly, what is it that you do before I ask you this question? So it's very clear, everyone knows.
Well, my company does full service financial management, wealth management, financial planning, tax planning, business planning, whatever is needed. We are, and we say this clearly now, we are a boutique firm with a high touch, and we go after who we want, not who wants us. At this point, I've done this long enough that I want to be happy while I do it. So we are a family. See, as a family, we don't bring people into the family that don't fit the family. So everybody on this call, we're all doing well right about now. So I was able to do it. So many seeds reap big harvests eventually, but it all came from hard work. It all came from outworking them. Because when DJ was a young pup and I was single, he tested how hard I worked because he was on the West Coast calling at 12. It's 3 a.m. I'm like, hey man, but they expected me to answer the phone. There was an expectation that if you get in a presentation and say that you got 24 hours accessibility, then I'm gonna see if you're a man of your word. But through building that relationship, they trust that I'm gonna give them premium service, and that service has grown the business.
So
I want to say something about that because Santana hitting on something. I mean, I see why he connected to Bishop Dunn. He said that he outworked the top 5, the top 10, and I want to make sure that people hear that. He didn't say he was the smartest individual. He didn't say he had the biggest firm. He said, no, I outworked. And I relate to that because I don't have a degree. I didn't finish my bachelor's degree. All I have is Jesus Christ and just me. And I'm in rooms with people who are worth 10 times more than I'll probably ever see in my life because I outworked other people to get into that room. And so for whoever's watching this, you may not have a master's, you may not have a bachelor's, you may not have a doctorate, you may just have a high school diploma, but you got Jesus, you have a hard work ethic, you may be a young man or a young lady of character. And if you can put all that stuff together with God's wisdom and knowledge, you can be just as successful as DJ, as Kiara, as Santana, as Bishop, as Dr. Nicole, as Anthony. We got Dr. Nicole on this call tonight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just Anthony O'Neal, so, and it's not me trying to brag, but it's like, I don't have education, but what I have accomplished, you should have an education in my seat, but because of God's grace and God's mercy, I'm here. And
so that's just a prime example of your gift making room for you. I kind of want to shift because we've been talking about the faith.
Sharice, before we shift.
Yes.
Sharice, before we shift, I want to ask DJ something, right? DJ, I want to ask you, what drives you in one of the most competitive industries in the world? Like the NFL is one of the most I mean, everybody was a star, right? Everybody, the 53rd man on the team in high school was probably a star.
Oh,
How
well.
do you, what drives you? I mean, because first of all, Anthony, I don't like talking to you because, like, when I talk to you, I want to throw stuff at you. And then to Kiara, you know what? You have confirmed why I work hard, right? Just listening to you, man, I would join your church if I was being listening to you. Because of you, I want to join St. Paul. I don't understand. I think it's amazing, right? So, but DJ Santana brought you on, and the one thing he said about you, he said this brother is serious, and this brother got major energy. What drives you to be successful at the
Yeah.
level that you work at?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. My father was the first successful person that I knew in my life. My parents had me when they were 15 years old. My father grew up and got a full ride scholarship to Presbyterian College when he played basketball and football, and he led on his life. And throughout his life, I watched him, and I just watched him, and I realized how much over time. I realized how much I was feeding off of what he did, and how much I wanted to please him and do well for him. And then I started having my own children. And I realized that at some point, my children are going to look at me that same way. And I want to always, now everything is technology. So my children have iPads. At some point, that's going to become an iPad when my child is, I don't know how old, he's going to be able to look up his father and find out this is what my dad did and how well did he do it and how did he do it and who was this guy. He's going to be able to find out my whole resume on the iPad in 10 years or whenever he's at that age and he wants to do that. And I know that when he does that finally, I want him to be so proud of his daddy, like how I was with my father. And some of the stuff I look at and I think about my dad. My dad says it to me is like, in comparison to the things that he did in comparison to me, he feels like the stuff that he did was minuscule. And I'm like, dog, you don't understand. It's like, I don't do the things that I did in my life if I don't see you do that, because I know that I can do it. And I think always wanting to be a great example and feeling like I know how I was looking at my father. So if it's anybody that's looking at me like that, I need to set a great example, and I got to be doing things a certain way. And I think that's really what drives me to continue to be competitive, because I mean it's football and we get paid a lot to do it, but it's a job, and you want to be the best at your job. And no matter who you are, we're competitive. That's how you get to be those guys that you talk about. We're all competitors, and we all want to be the best. We all want to beat the best, and I think that's just it continues to feed off of that same energy.
Wow. Anybody want to piggyback off of having an influence in your life that pushed you to where you are now?
I think for me, I was here we go. Let's go. I was exposed by several different people, and I think that is one of the greatest things any of us young people can have is exposure. When I look at people who are not as successful, it's not because they lack the capability or they don't have the gift. No, they lack exposure. So I grew up like DJ. I had two great fathers, a biological father and a stepfather, biological mother, stepmother. And they exposed me to my Christian walk. They exposed me to hard work. But my family they didn't grow up with money. They didn't grow up in wealth. We didn't have wealth growing up. Then God puts me around Bishop McKissick Jr., Bishop John Guns, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and some other people. And God exposed me in that area. Then I get exposed to Dave Ramsey, Mark Cubans, Kelvin Beacham, and all these different guys who are in the money space. So who I am today is because of the broad room of exposure I've been able to be around. And I listen. I listen more than I speak. And so I say, even if let's say for example, you don't have a lot of people in your life who are that positive influence. Well, get around people and expose yourself to different things that is not in your normal day-to-day life. And I think that will help you become a lot more successful in life because of that.
Wow. Anybody else want to speak to their influence?
Yeah, I will speak. I had a unique experience, and for those a lot of people don't know it. My grandmother cleaned houses in the San Marco area. I stayed in a rough neighborhood at that time. Oh, it's rougher now, Roosevelt Garden. So I say grades 1 through 8. I ride with grandmother on the days out of school, hang out in San Marcos, we come back to the projects. But the great thing about it is they taught me while I was over there. So I always say in the midst of all this racial tension, I had some people that had say, hey man, one thing we can do is deposit our knowledge into you. We can't fully change your situation, but we can change your mindset. So I saw the work ethic of my grandmother, worked till she was 75 years old, 6 days a week, catching the city bus, not taking any excuses, not letting me off of anything. Like, I got the joke. I went to Stanton. Grandmother said, "Hey, baby, I can't help you with your homework, but God can." So, she started putting this whole thing that, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I got a sixth grade education, but I can put this work ethic in you. I can have you exposed to the people I work for. And between all that, you figure it out. And I think that's what it made a perfect combination. I joke with my clients, it was one of the best kept secrets because I introduced them to my other family when I got married, and they were like, "Oh, what?" But that exposure let me know that, hey, you can make money. They were a Jewish family. They came here broke, but they had a passion. They believed in their Christian values. They worked that day after day. And I took the same approach. Hey, I always need God. I always need a temple to worship. And I always need to work from what my grandmother taught me. And when you do all those things and you treat people right, you're going to be successful. Don't believe the verbiage that good people don't finish first. You can. It may be a longer process, but you'll win in the end.
I think that for most people, it's the detour, that can be discouraging. It's not that you won't get there, but you may not get there the route that you thought you were. I think that for all of you, and DJ, you can speak to this as well. Maybe you got a degree or you thought you were going to do something else, and then life pushed you to where you are now. I'm noticing that most entrepreneurs did not, who they are is not who they initially sought to be. Something happened. There was a shift in your life that pushed you there. Kiara, and anybody can speak to this, but you pursue real estate, but you got a master's in business, where that degree could, if you kept working, in corporate America, could have potentially, afforded you the opportunity to climb the corporate ladder. But you went to real estate. Why real estate?
To be honest with you, I fell into real estate. In the middle of me getting my undergraduate degree, I was bored and I was like, well, let me go to real estate school. The reason why I think honestly my undergraduate degree and my master's helped me in real estate, and not just the degrees, but the experience that I had to go through to get my degrees, to make sure I'm goal oriented, to make sure I plan stuff out, write stuff out. I know Sharice, we talked about that before. Just how I managed my life in school and working full time. I know I can just handle anything. So I think that I don't get when people say, degrees don't matter. I think it does. I think the experience that you go through to obtain your degree, because it's not easy to get that degree, it helps you in your entrepreneur world.
Wow. Anybody else want to chime in with the detour that got you where you are?
I think I came in early in the league. I had a rough start as a rookie, man. I was a first round draft pick, and I was a healthy stretch. I didn't dress one game as a rookie, and I remember coming to Santana like, man, I don't know. We might need to start putting all this money up, man, because I don't know how this is going to – I don't know. I thought I was going to play for 10, 15 years. I don't know if this is going to go that way to getting to that point where it was I felt like the detours going through that, that kind of woke up my entrepreneurial spirit. Also, figuring out, thinking that I might have to find another way to be successful if this way doesn't pan out the way that I thought it would. And thank God I was able to pull things together. But it definitely ignited that for me, and I continue to piggyback off of it over the last few years. And I'm excited to see what the future holds in that.
Wow.
Let me kind of jump in and offer a couple of things. I think first of all, this has been one of the most amazing things that I've done in the pandemic tonight, and let me tell you why. Again, Santana, thank you for introducing us to DJ, and
Yes.
for creating that bridge for him to share with a different audience tonight. That's amazing. Um, I think the thing that's so amazing about this is that a lot of people complain that life doesn't play fair. But a lot of people don't understand that you can also write the rules based upon your courage to fight through all of the things that you've used as excuses that God is actually trying to use as inspiration.
Say that.
Anthony decided that even if I don't have the education of others, I can still be in the room and be equal to their performance. Santana said more than 100 times where he came from, which always is interesting to me because what that says to me is Santana has used that as inspiration to press beyond any of the barriers by basically saying, if I survived this as a teenager and a youngster, I can live in this world of the big boys. Kiara basically decided that she wasn't going to be average. And she used every learning experience to propel her into a place of courage. And DJ, you decided that one bad first year wasn't going to define your whole career. So you started rethinking the whole process. I'm sitting here listening to y'all getting inspired because I think that a lot of young adults, especially
Me
people of
too.
color, mismanage the crisis. They mismanage the challenges and they don't learn from the mistakes. And so, what each of you have basically taught us tonight is that mistakes and failures and small beginnings, are never greater than your passion to be great. So, we've got 12 more minutes. Um, from each of you, what is the one life principle? What is the one thing you need to teach everybody who follows you? What's the one thing that you can say has been foundational to your present state of mind and your present stage of success? And we'll
Mm,
start with Anthony.
that's
So,
good.
yeah.
Y'all. So I would say mine's like a part two thing. I think my main mission when it comes to like my heart is really for that 20 something, 30 something year old is that the caliber of your future will be determined by the choices you make today. And I'm really big on the wealth move like Santana. So like I really want to help them, people get out of debt, avoid debt, build wealth, start a business, work on a legacy. And I'm very big on, for me, at this season of my life, instead of making impressive moves, I'm making wealth building moves. And I think that that is something that this generation needs. Gucci is impressive, but does it build wealth? Driving a BMW is impressive, but does it build wealth? Um, what decisions can we make today that builds us wealth tomorrow? What decisions can you make in your 20s that when you turn 31, when you turn 41, you're sitting on a half a million, you're sitting on $1 million, you don't have any debt. And so that is one thing that if I can leave with anyone here tonight, that remember that the decisions that you're making right now, you are impacting your tomorrow. And I live by that. I lived out in the country, built a custom home, and I was like, why am I out there in the country? This ain't gonna make me money. No one's really moving out here. They're building these tall and skinnies out in Nashville, Tennessee. You got Airbnb. You can rent that out. You can do this. You can get some real estate, get some land. So I sold that house, bought some rental properties in Nashville. I'm living in one right now, building it up. Why? And I don't like this place. but I'm making wealth moves, not impressive moves. These wealth moves will one day build my dream home, will one day be an impressive move to not just myself, but to my family. So I want to leave that with everyone tonight. Make the right decisions, and you will be successful tomorrow.
Wow. What you got, Key?
What I want to leave everybody with is simple. Never give up. Honestly, if you have a goal, if you have something that you envision yourself and you're not there yet. I know in this generation, especially in my age group, a lot of people a hurdle comes or distraction comes, a detour comes, something comes and it's just like, oh, it's not gonna work for me. That's not my story. I like if something don't work for me, I'm gonna figure out how it's gonna work. If like honestly, if somebody tells me no, I'm gonna figure out how they can tell me yes. With real estate, I took the real estate exam 3 times. 3 times. I was in school, college forever. I wasn't stopping until I reached my goal. So I just want to leave with everybody. Never give up. Stay resilient. Stay persistent. Stay just focus your eyes and your everything on that goal until you achieve it. That's it.
Good stuff. DJ, what you got?
Um, I think I would one thing that I like to hang my hat on is always trying to be myself and always striving to be the best version of myself. Not in just being myself, but even with success or being in my lowest lows, continuing to try to be the best version of myself and having that continuous competition with yourself to be better than you were yesterday, today.
That's good.
Wow.
Santana.
Since it's the YA movement, and I'm going to say what I would say to my young self that has helped my old self is look do an inventory of your life. Look at where you've experienced the most pain, and really decide if that's the place where your breakthrough has been hiding. I think most of the time, my greatest area of pain growing up is knowing that we didn't have the financial resources. So I began to save money, um, learn about how to apply for financial aid and all that stuff in college. I started studying that in the ninth grade because I knew when I got to college that it was going to be a challenge for my family to be able to manage that season. So I try to learn all I can before the moment. So take where your pain is and turn it into your area of breakthrough.
Wow.
Sharif, what have you learned? Because I mean, we sitting up here talking about everybody else's a success. You knocking on that door. So what are your lessons? We got five
Oh
minutes.
man. So I think one of the lessons that I've learned in pursuing success is being focused and setting goals. And it's just that simple. Once I made a decision to focus on what it is that I wanted to do, I put the goals in place. I also sowed seeds in inconvenient seasons that helped me prosper in seasons where I needed it.
Mm.
So that is where I learned that the value to get to success is that you got to do what you need to do so that one day you can do what you want. So,
Let me close. And again, I wanna thank you all. Santana, I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of give a final thought. But it's something DJ said, and he was able to pop right back in. I never really thought about it, but it makes so much sense because I've lived it. Um, make yourself your biggest competitor.
mm-hmm.
Compete against your own expectations. You know, it's easy. Like, I'm a pastor, and it's easy to compete against somebody's church size. And I've even had people around me who have compared, who have had conversations with me about what somebody else is doing. And sometimes I've gotten like really angry, and my anger was never insecurity. It was, I can't live my life defined by anybody else but who God's called me to be. And when I look at my life and I look at what we're able to do as a church, where we are, it amazes me how incredible the journey has been. And each of you, I mean, oh my God, Kiara, oh my God, amazing. Oh, if you don't write a book one day with just that, just your story, because I watched you never quit. And here's what's funny. I was in undergrad for 5.5 years, right? I pledged Kappa. I'm proud tonight. I pledged Kappa, right? I pledged Kappa as a freshman. And my sophomore year was devoted to being the best Kappa up and down the East Coast. Y'all
Not
not
education.
understanding. If you up and down the East Coast, that means you ain't in class, right? 5.5 years, 3 different schools. Norfolk State. Oh, I don't even tell people I went to Old Dominion for a year. I went to Old Dominion. Don't nobody even know I went to Old Dominion for a year. I went to Old Dominion for a year, right? And then ended up in Norfolk State. I went from Virginia Tech, this big white school that's supposed to be prominent, to this HBCU. And the best thing that ever happened to me was that
Wow,
HBCU.
that part.
That HBCU saved me. And so first of all, so okay, DJ, you got to come back. You got to come back. You got to come back.
Down.
Kiara, you got to come back. Santana, you got to come back. So what we gonna do is like sometime in November, December, we gonna have this same group come back on. Let me tell you what, because y'all have scratched some deep stuff,
Yes,
like some really deep stuff, and I don't think y'all understand how amazing tonight has been. Tonight's been amazing. Santana, we got 1 minute. You the old guy on the panel tonight. Yes, sir. You the old guy. Give us 18 years, sum up 18. I know you said a whole lot, but you got 30 seconds to sit down to that young African American about to launch their business, and you're gonna give them one principle that you know works to make everybody successful.
my Lord.
I think the first thing you have to do is know where you want to go.
Got
Be
it.
clear about, be unrelenting about what is your prescribed destiny that God has ordained. In the midst of that, be encouraged by other success, not be damaged by other people's success.
That's
Meaning,
big.
be happy for them, be genuinely happy for people because everyone is going to have their moment. But don't marginalize what God is doing in your life because somebody else is having their season. Because I can guarantee you that your season is coming. You just need to be paying attention that it's your season. That's a
Santana Johnson, I
That'll
think
preach.
on that note,
Yes,
uh,
yes,
DJ, man, it's great to meet you. Have a great game Monday.
Y'all, it
Great
was a
game.
pleasure.
on a
Man,
side note. DJ had he was the highest ranked offensive tackle in Pro Football Focus last week. He had a 93.1 grade.
and you wanna know
Don't
why
don't
he
don't
and
be
you wanna know
modest,
why he had
DJ.
such a high one? Because he knew he was coming on nightcap, so he wanted to be right.
That's
So
it.
he said, I'm gonna turn it, I'm gonna turn it up
Hey,
just
we got to
so I can be right for nightcap. That's what happened.
tell the people
That's what happened.
we trying to focus on consistency. We ain't trying to get no pats
That's
on the back
it.
for doing what you're supposed to do.
Oh, that's good. No pats on the
Yeah.
back for doing what you're supposed to do. That's
Yeah.
That's good
good.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I
We want to
appreciate y'all
say,
for having me.
man,
You're
listen,
so welcome.
listen, thank you. Listen, anybody who want a house, a condo, a mobile home, uh, call Kiara.
A
Call
boat, anything. Call.
a boat. A golf cart.
Call me.
Don't care. All right. Everybody, thank y'all so much. DJ, we're gonna
Yes.
be watching Monday. Sorry, I'm gonna have on a different jersey, but I
It's all
promise
good.
you, if you
Yeah.
send me your jersey, I'm gonna wear it because the Cardinals is my fantasy league defense. I know you play
Hey.
offense, but they're my fantasy. So you tell them guys, not this week, but the next week, I need them to get me some fantasy points because I can't lose the church league.
You told me you a Kappa already. We had you in red and black, so
There you go.
Oh my God. Well, listen, if
I
he get
love
a
it.
jersey,
You're
make sure
right.
you
You're
send
right
mine.
about
I'm small.
that.
you got
Listen,
the dog.
Sharice,
Thank you.
uh, co-host of the year, man. Co-host of the year. Co-host of the year. Thank y'all
Thank
so
you.
much. Listen, Nightcap has been legendary.
Yes.
Like, share, whatever, all that other stuff. Like,
Please.
share, yeah,
Please.
all that. And listen, Quinn Sams, who's a proud mother, is up here talking about some get your keys with Key. That's her. That's her motto. Period. All right. Love you guys. Santana, thank you, man, for making this happen, man, with DJ. But more importantly,
Yes.
thank you for sharing your heart. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Anthony had to go, but again, to Anthony O'Neill, to Kiara Washington, to DJ Humphries, and to Santana Johnson. Thank you. This has been
Thank you,
Nightcap
guys.
with John Guns and da 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 da.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Sharice Nicole. Love you guys. I'm staying on the balcony, y'all. Y'all take
All
care.
right.
And we'll
All
talk
All
right.
right,
soon.
y'all.
Bye,
Take care.
guys.
Peace,
Thank
y'all.
y'all.